episode of What the Hell Am I Doing? This week, it's a Super Saturday. It's UFC 275. There's some big fights to finish off the card tonight. So I figured, what a perfect opportunity to get back into spicy sports betting and do some crazy picks for you guys. And put those new death shots on the line so we can see how they really kick. But before we get into that, I just want to thank everybody that's new to the channel. It looks like the subscriber numbers keep going up, so I appreciate everybody who's clicking that subscribe button. And if you haven't yet, please do. And make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment, because I want to build a community in the comments. I want to, I want to have something special going on there. Plus, it helps the videos get exposed more, and it puts me in the algorithm. So it really does help if you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and comment. The more you help this grow, the more fun we're going to have with the channel. And speaking of fun, I got some new stuff. So if you guys are following my Instagram, you know what's coming next. And if you're not following my Instagram, you better start following it so you have an idea what goes on in the Champs world. Plus, you'll see what's coming up next. We're going to do something a little different, but I think people will like it. And if you know what it is, then get excited. And if not, go check out my Instagram. You'll figure it out. There's links off my channel, but also make sure there's a link in the comments. All right, well, that's enough self-promotion for today. So let's talk about UFC 275. There's 3 fights tonight that are particularly interesting. There's also boxing tonight, but we're not going to pick that. Jaime Munguia is going to win. There's no doubt about it. Let's just put that out there right now. If he loses, I'll shave my mustache off. But, the UFC is going to be some good fights. So, first one, Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jedrzejczyk. I think I said that right. They already fought once. Weili won that fight. It was a really good fight. I'm not a huge fan of WMMA. I was more into it when it started than I am now. But that was a really good fight. And that's a little bit way back when now. But that was a really good fight. At the time, it was quite a shocker. So I think it was one of the fights of that year. And one of the greatest fights of all time, really. And a lot of people agree with that. And, Zhang Weili won that fight fairly. And, since then, she's remained a hungry fighter. She's been beaten by Rose. And has since won, too, of course. But, since Joanna, she's been through some ups and downs, and she's gotten better as a fighter, where Joanna now has a lot of question marks because towards her long kind of break that she's been on, she had some losses and some tough fights. And now she's been off for, what seems like a couple of years. And Zhang this whole time has been fighting, has been hungry, and has been working on getting better. Now, Joanna is one of the great women fighters, and, she's not just going to come back and not have it anymore. That's just not going to happen. But what could happen is she could come back and not be as sharp as she could have been. She could be rusty. She just may face a fighter that's more improved because that fighter's been more active and more hungry. But again, things are crazy in fights, and sometimes all this doesn't matter and somebody wins. That being said, I really think that Zhang Weili is going to win the fight. The fight I thought was going to be 5 rounds, but it's only going to be 3. I think being a 3-round fight, it gives Joanna a bit more chance because she can kind of, throw all caution to the wind and go for it. So she could potentially win because of the 3-round fight, giving her a bit more maybe of an advantage to not have to worry about strategy. But that being said, I think Zhang will be, better prepared. She's been more active. I think she's been improving this whole time, and I think she's going to be a better version of herself that already beat Joanna. So I'm going to pick Zhang Weili, and if she loses, I will do 2 big spoonfuls of the 2-division champ hot sauce, and you guys know that's pretty hot. So that's what I'll bet on Zhang Weili winning the fight. 2 big spoonfuls of my champ sauce, 2-division champ. If she loses, that's what I'll do. Next, we'll go on to Valentina Shevchenko versus Teixeira Santos. Shevchenko is, again, one of the top dogs in the female game. She's been on quite a tear for quite a while now. I think she's pretty unstoppable. So, she's going to have a bit of a challenge, I guess, tonight. But as long as she can, remain patient and keep distance and do her thing, I see her picking this fighter apart and winning. This, to me, seems like an opponent type fight tonight. So, it could always be wrong. She could always be taken down, submitted. But I think she's too smart of a fighter. I think her fighter IQ is pretty good, and her stand-up game is excellent. And she's going to be able to keep that distance and win the fight whatever way she needs to. So if Shevchenko loses the fight tonight, I will eat a dried. I'll have a dried Viper Axe, Trinidad Viper Axe. That's what I have if that happens. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that fight. And then the last fight I'm going to pick is the main event, the light heavyweight championship between Glover Teixeira and Yuri Prochazka. Prochazka. That's his name. Yuri's an interesting fighter. He's got a lot of wins. He's got wins by knockout. I think he's won only lost one of his 25 or 26 last fights or something like that. He's on a roll and he's got 25 wins. So at some point he lost, but he's been on a long winning streak basically. I should just stop at that statement. It sounds ridiculous. Anyways, but yes, he has been on quite a roll and he has quite a record. He is quite an offensive fighter with quite an arsenal that he can strike with, and he's had some impressive stand-up battles. And he's fighting a champion in Glover Teixeira, who obviously is old, 42, maybe 43, but not finished. Glover's had chances before to get there and do this, and he couldn't get it done. He did at an advanced stage, and he did it impressively. He has knockout power, but obviously his bread and butter is being able to grapple and submit you with jiu-jitsu. He is a fairly complete fighter, though. The question mark is he going to be too old to fight a guy like Yuri? Or, will Father Time catch up to him at some point in the fight? Sometimes you get old in the fight like that. It's hard to say. Glover's got an interesting style, so it kind of works no matter what. He is in a heavier weight class, so it matters a little less if he slows down or has a little less reaction time. But that being said, sometimes Father Time is a son of a bitch, and that's it. But for Yuri to win, he really has to win early. He's got to be explosive early and take the fight within the first 5 minutes, because if he doesn't, I think he starts to tail off fast. He's unproven beyond a certain point, and obviously, everybody's unproven beyond a certain point at a certain point in their career. And when they come to that point, they either rise to the occasion or not. And tonight will be that point for Yuri. If he doesn't put Glover away in the first round, the fight starts to heavily weigh in Glover's favor. The longer it goes, the more Glover has a better chance of winning. The more he slows down, and Glover's going to drag him to the ground, and then have his way with him. The longer the fight goes, the more it favors Glover. And of course, this is an opportunity for Prochazka to really rise up to the occasion and show that he is a champion fighter and, he's a complete fighter. And that can happen tonight too. But that being said, Glover's a very experienced guy. He's been there before, and those old dogs have all the tricks. And sometimes even when you've almost got them out, if you don't put them away, they find a way to come back and get you. And I'm going to be a little risky tonight because I think this fight either way is risky. If it goes longer than 5 minutes, it's very risky to pick Yuri. And if, picking Glover, obviously it's very risky because it's a very real possibility he could get stopped in the first round. But if he doesn't, I think his chances of winning increase tenfold. So that being said, I think the old dog with the experience is going to find a way to do it against a guy who just hasn't been quite tested enough at this length of fight. And, I'm not knocking Yuri because he's an impressive fighter and I do like him and I like what he brings to the table. And if he wins, it's because he's got it right now. And there'll be no question about it. But, he's going to have to answer some questions to win. So this is the test for him. And, sometimes I just think the old dog with the experience finds a way to get a win. And I think Glover's going to do that tonight. You know, it's a very big test. It's a very risky fight, and I'm saying that this is as close as it can be. It's a very dangerous pick, but I'm picking Glover to win the fight, and I will bet a good amount. Maybe not quite a quarter dropper, but somewhere around a quarter dropper. More than the tip. Between more than the tip and a quarter dropper. See, I'm really doubting this because this is really risky. But I will bet that of the peppermint death shots that I received. And if Glover loses, then that's what I'll do. Yep, it's a risky fight. I know you guys get upset when I win, but, you know, I'm trying to have credibility as a guy that knows stuff about fights. But I'm also trying to pick fights that are interesting and have a lot of risk. And this fight is both that. Well, all three fights I had to pick tonight are all that, except for the Shevchenko fight, really. But you never know. Nunes lost. It can happen. So that's what I'm risking tonight. Hot sauce, a dry pepper, and death shots. And a couple fights that are real coin tosses, I think. So we'll see what happens. And I guess depending on that, we'll be back next week with punishment, if there is to be punishment. But in the meantime, oh yeah, and I'm also going to do another garden update. I'm going to just show you guys around the garden. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. We'll see if I have time. I want to show you guys the garden, give you some final tips about what to do with buds, and when to stop picking them off the plants. And then, of course, the new videos, which you'll have to go check out my Instagram to see what I'm talking about. All right, well, that's it for today. Make sure you leave a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel. Check out last week's video. Check out this random video here. We'll see you next week, possibly with punishment, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow with a garden update. Thanks for tuning in.